facilitating Senior Sisters, Queer Women of Color support group at the San Mateo Pride Center on the second Tuesday of each month.
All senior queer women of color, age 55 plus, are encouraged to take a look at the San Mateo Pride Center's calendar on their website at sanmateopride.org for more information. Senior Sisters are doing it for themselves. Sing along with me.
Not quite. We don't have clearance for that music. But first, let's start with Wiggsy Sivertsen's tribute.
As well. So thanks for being here. Also, thanks for being here for the very first event by the BAYMEC Community Foundation. This is our inaugural event, so it's wonderful that you're here.
I came to San Jose State in 1967, just out of graduate school. I was in the closet. San Jose State was not particularly a friendly place at that time, so I had to be really careful. I'd gotten fired from a job because they found out I'm lesbian. I thought these people are really stupid. I worked for them for 4 years and they couldn't figure it out for 4 years. Anyway, so when I came to San Jose State, one of the things that was clear to me is that we needed to have a world where we talked about issues of discrimination, not only against the LGBT community, which is, certainly the reason that we're here, but also against other communities based on race and ethnicity, gender or disability, all kinds of things here. If we discriminate against anybody, my motto always was, and it was Ken's too, we decided we weren't going to just do gays. We were going to make a difference in this world about people feeling comfortable being who they are, regardless of what they look like or who they socialize with. And we've stayed close to that motto all along. And I think it's a really important motto for us to face. We are no longer in a place where we can just have, be concerned about discrimination against the gay and LGBT community. We can. But we have to also be concerned about what's going on in the world, and particularly what's going on in the world. It became clear that we needed to have a place on campus for students. And we needed to have an organization, and a man by the name of Paul Wysocki, who has deceased now, really sat down and said, okay, let's do it, and started a gay student group. And actually the Associated Students at San Jose State paid for us, to have a group, which was really quite remarkable. This we're talking 68.
Things that, BAYMEC has tried to do over the years, and it was the reason for my coming out in 1984 is when our state assembly member with the unfortunate name Alistair McAllister wrote an article for the Mercury News saying that gay people were so despicable that they deserved no social, political, or legal rights at all. And the message was, we just don't even want you as part of our society. And when you think about what is happening now, particularly with immigrants or people who speak a different language or have a different religion, it's that same kind of message. We don't even want you to contribute. We don't want you here at all. And I think that LGBTQ people know that feeling. And I think one reason why we work so much in government is that government really has the ability to have community engagement of everybody in society. And but I really credit you, Wiggsy, for those early days. Because the gay community was so low on the totem pole because of various things that had happened, that it was hard, I think, for some of the minority groups to even have us at the table because of fear that all of a sudden that they were going to lose political clout because we were there. But we always stuck through and worked with them and were able to sort of do that Rainbow Coalition.
Yeah, it was really great. I made a lot of friends in this valley. Some of you may remember Senator Alquist, who Ken and I were at a dinner for NWPC, which is the National Women's Political Caucus, and we went to him and asked him to support AB1, and he whipped around on us, and was he was a big guy, and he looked at Ken mostly, and said, well, as long as those men keep going to the bathrooms and doing the disgusting things they do, I will never support them. So I thought, oh my God. So anyway, I was mad. So I wrote him a letter, a stinging letter, and talked to him about your history as a labor person, your history as a senator. You have always talked about being a man that was out for the good of the damaged ones. And I said, and shame on you for not voting on this because it really hurts kids. So I get this call on the telephone, and it's one of his mentor, or one of his people, and she says, Wiggsy, can you come and meet with me? I thought, oh, now what? Okay. So I went over and met with her, and she said, Al's very unhappy about your letter. Well, it was not intended to be sweet. And she said, could you write him a letter of apology? I thought to myself, you know, my first inclination was to say, are you kidding me? But I said, okay, because this is politics. Now, when I see what's going on, if we don't sit down and try to figure out how to embrace our enemy, we'll never get anywhere.
Right.
So I sat down, I wrote him a letter on the BAYMEC stationery, and I did apologize, but I explained to him, you know, you can't treat kids like this. You know, you have a reputation as a senator that's, you know, outstanding. Why would you do this? I was at the university one day and I got a call from the front office said there's a Senator Alquist on the telephone. I said, oh, now what? He wants another letter? So I answered the telephone. He said, Wiggsy? And he's very gruff. He's a big guy. Gruff voice. I said, yeah, hi, Senator, how are you? And he says, I'm fine. He said, I want you to be my date for the BAYMEC dinner. I said, you know, Senator, I don't do boys. He said, it's okay. It's okay. So I actually was his date for the BAYMEC dinner. And from that time on until he really got to the point where he was no longer able to come, I used to go once a month and have lunch with him.
I think one of the things that we really need to do is to talk to the folks who've been in the battle for so long and to tell those stories that we need to have to pass on to the other generation, and certainly learn about tactics and what's going to be effective and coalition building and meeting with elected officials. And again, I know that Senator McCorkadale was one of the first people that was willing to meet with us for breakfast.
But one of the things that I think really we have to do is we have to pull people into our lives and care about them and let them see that in fact all of us together can make the world change for everybody. And so I think we have to think of the future. I don't think this, you know, at one time, I remember I did an interview with somebody else to ask me if they thought the fight for the gay community was over. I said, oh, hell no. I don't think it's over. And unfortunately, because I think there will always be people out there who want to slam somebody. And one group of people that is easy to slam are gays and lesbians, people of color, you know, elderly people, people with disabilities. So I think we can't decide, okay, this is it. We can sit here at this place and have a great time, and aren't we having a good time, and don't we love each other, and go out of this room, and tomorrow somebody's going to be after us again.
Yes.
So please, keep your eyes open.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Just by Wiggsy being out and being who she is, she paved the way for all the rest of us to be out. She didn't tell all of us to go back to our dorms and tell them we're fags. She let most of us come out on our own time, at our own pace. She never outed anybody. Like Harvey Milk, she certainly emphasized that we all should be out. That's a political act for LGBT people. You know, when Wiggsy and I started at San Jose State, it wasn't legal for us to be union members. It wasn't legal for us to do a lot of things, but that was one of them. Wiggsy became president of the faculty union, and I was chair of the political action committee. And the faculty union at San Jose State are well represented here tonight. Okay.
I was personally rewarded by the things that we did at our staff faculty LGBT association. And I know that Wiggsy, single-handedly or with others, had made San Jose State a safe place. You know those signs at the fire department or whatnot with the baby and it says safe place? You know, and everybody knows if they have a problem, they can go there. That was what San Jose State became with the work that Wiggsy and others did.
But I can just say that Wiggsy, who's worked fearlessly and
relentlessly to better the criminal justice system has really had the foresight to talk about the needs of not just the victims but also the perpetrators. Something that people now are embracing and learning through research is useful and actually curative if it can be. She was on the Death Review Committee, which I'm sure Rolanda will talk about. She was a part of the Domestic Violence Council and all its committee meetings. She also, I'm not sure if anyone will talk about this, was a very valuable and motivating voice to make sure that all inmates in Santa Clara County are treated safely and fairly, particularly those who are LGBTQ, but she was really the lone voice for a long time on that issue.
Hi, I'm Clementine Ford, and you are watching Outlook Video.
Welcome to Stonewall 50. We are here to celebrate and fight for the LGBTQI community in the South Bay. We have fought so many years for LGBTQI plus equality, and to see this day, today, where we're still fighting for our rights, this is unacceptable.
And took courage, think about it, 50 years ago, to have the courage in New York City, in the Stonewall Inn, where you have a relatively low-income community, many people of color, gay, transgender, who had been accustomed to having the bar shut down or being pushed away, and said, no more. We're not gonna walk away from this fight. And to do that in the face of police officers that were intent on harming them is extremely courageous and inspires me, and I know inspires so many of you. And so when we think about the Stonewall riots and think about the courage that it took back then, we must continue to carry that courage today, because the fights continue, unfortunately.
Stonewall is now! Stonewall is now! Stonewall is now! The reality is that when one of us gets hurt, we all get hurt. When a transgender person is killed for being transgendered, that affects all of us. It affects all of us. And we can't stand on the side and just say, that's not my problem, that's not my group. It is our group. We are together. When one of us loses rights, like the transgender community has over the past few months, it hurts us all. Eventually they come for us. They go for every group.
Stonewall was important because it made people sit up and take notice. It made me take notice because I was 18 years old in Manhattan, and people were coming out right after the riot, and I joined them in the first activist group that was formed, the Gay Liberation Front. Now, Harvey Milk always kept saying, you have to come out. The best way to change people's minds on LGBT issues was for gay people to, talk to their friends and family, to convince them of their issues, of their problems, what it's like to be gay, because people can't know you, people can't like you, rather, if they don't know you. You cannot fight for equality and be absent from the fight. So happy San Jose Pride, everyone, because as we first shouted on the streets of New York and then all over the world, we are gay and proud.
We fly the rainbow flag at the county building every workday, along with the trans flag. And I think it's very important for our government agencies to really show their support of our community and in support of diversity by flying that flag. One morning in 1984, I woke up on a Sunday morning and read in the San Jose Mercury News an article by one of our state assembly members saying that gay people were basically so morally corrupt that they deserved absolutely no moral, legal, or social standing in our community. And I remember reading this article, and I said to myself, I was out to some people but not to everybody, that if I didn't come out and say that I was a proud gay man and try to work for our community, then I couldn't count on anybody else to do it. And so that was my coming out, and it really then started my work in government and then working with Wiggsy Sivertsen to co-found BAYMEC at this point 35 years ago. And the thing that I've been working on for so long is making sure that government will respect not only our rights, but the rights of everybody in our community. I think one of the reasons that our gay community is so strong is that we know what discrimination feels like. We know what it feels like to be marginalized. We know how it feels like not to have society accept us. We know what it feels like for government not to want to protect us in any ways. And so when I think about, Stonewall 50 years ago and where we are headed now, I think our community is just well positioned to help people who are feeling marginalized, those people who the Trump administration and others are not accepting, all the people who really need our assistance, because it can be very hard out there when you don't think that government even wants you to be a part of it, when you think that government wants to send you away and back into another country. And so I'm just really very proud of all the work that we've done together for ourselves, for many people in our community, and we just need to keep strong and make sure that our voices is heard so everybody in society feels welcome and that they really count and that government really cares for them. So,
You're the next generation. You're the one that's going to be carrying the torch. And don't forget, you believe in equality for some, you don't believe in equality at all. Today, we're here to remember. We remember Compton's cafeteria. We remember local people. We remember Stonewall. We remember our dead. We remember those lives who've been lost to hatred and bigotry. And we remember that we are not here celebrating not breeding. Okay? But we're celebrating the right to exist without persecution. We remember the past. To remember that resentment and bitterness don't accomplish much. Anger is very destructive. Don't let it interfere with our unity as a nation. Unity trumps diversity. We remember those who fought for us on the streets of New York. Remember Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. There they are, right there. Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera. In our case, ally means subordinate. We remember in 1978, a plan was hatched by our own alleged allies that turned off the intermodal supply chain of healthcare knowledge and services, killing 50,000 transsexual people! They're dead! Because you turned off our healthcare!
We need to understand that if we, as a community, do not act, no one's going to do it for us. The elders in the community, which evidently I'm becoming one of, need you to understand that you need to step up.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
We'd love to get mail from you. Email us at comments@outlookvideo.org.
To contact us by phone, call 408-293-3040, extension 205.
Visit our website at outlookvideo.org.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/outlookvideo.
And connect with us at facebook.com/outlookvideo.
And that's a wrap for this month's edition of Outlook Video. You can watch extended versions of our segments and archive past programs on Outlook Video's YouTube channel at youtube.com/Outlook Video. Be sure to click and subscribe on the button.
And click on the bell for notification of our latest videos. Also friend us on Facebook at facebook.com/Outlook Video. Outlook Video is made possible by generous donations from viewers like you and talented volunteers behind the camera whose names you'll see as we close. And if you live in the Bay Area and would like to volunteer here, contact us through our Facebook page. We close this month's episode with more scenes from San Francisco Pride. From all of us here at Outlook Video, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month. Good night, everyone.